It happened in a blink. I still hear the glass shatter before I remember the pain. I'd been sleeping in the living room again. My sister had taken my bedroom weeks ago, claiming hers was too small for her energy. My parents not only allowed it, they encouraged it. She's the one who'll amount to something, they'd say. She needs her rest. That night, I lay on the couch, breathing quietly because even that seemed to irritate them. Sometime after midnight, something cold touched my cheek. Then, crash, the rim of a drinking glass burst against my face, slicing near my eye and nose. I gasped, more from shock than pain, until the warmth of blood began to drip down my temple. My father loomed over me, gripping the jagged base of the glass, his chest heaving with rage. "Maybe now you'll learn to sleep like a human," he said, as if I'd committed a crime. My mom appeared from the kitchen, dish towel in hand. She didn't look concerned, if anything. She looked satisfied. "Finally," she said, tilting her head, "now you're pretty enough to match your worthless life." From the hallway, my sister's laughter floated in, light and cruel. "Guess you'll stop breathing so loud now," she said, strolling past me like I was just clutter on the floor. The cut throbbed, but I didn't move. My father crouched close, voice low. "Don't even think about telling anyone. We'll say you tripped over your own laziness." No one offered me a bandage. No one asked if I could see. My mom told my dad to clean up before the carpet stained. He tossed me a paper towel without looking, muttering that useless people didn't even bleed right. In the bathroom, I pressed the towel to my face with trembling hands. The cut was deeper than I'd thought. Every blink burned. My reflection stared back, swollen cheek, blood tracing my jaw, and I had to grip the counter to keep from collapsing. It wasn't just the pain, it was knowing, without question, that if I fell unconscious, none of them would lift a finger. That night, I locked myself in the bathroom and slept sitting in the corner. From the kitchen came the sounds of plates clinking, laughter, the TV. My name wasn't called once. In the morning, my mom banged on the door. "Get out, you're hogging the mirror, and some of us actually have lives to live." I stepped past her. She glanced at my face and smirked. "Don't worry, honey, scars can build character, though you've got nothing to build on." At the table, my dad sipped coffee, eyes on his phone. Without looking up, he said, "Remember, keep your mouth shut. Breathing too loud already got you this far." My sister, with her perfect hair and that smug, practiced smile, said, "Maybe you should just stop breathing altogether. Save everyone the trouble." I went to my room, my former room, and found the door locked. Her music blasted inside. On the porch, my old clothes sat stuffed into garbage bags like trash waiting for pickup. That's when it hit me, this wouldn't stop. It would only escalate. I pressed my hand to my cheek, feeling the sting, and made myself a promise. They thought they'd broken me. They thought a scar would keep me small and silent, but I'd make them choke on the silence they demanded. By morning, the wound had crusted, but each movement of my jaw sent pain shooting through my face. My bandage was a strip of toilet paper taped to my skin, more insult than care. In the kitchen, my mom stirred her coffee with slow, lazy swirls, my dad scrolling on his phone beside her. Neither looked up. "You look worse today," my mom finally said. I still fixed on her mug. "Guess ugly sinks deeper with time." My dad smirked. "You should be thanking me. That face will keep men away. I'm saving the world from more of you." Bile burned my throat, but I said nothing. Words would only hand them more ammunition. My sister breezed in wearing my old hoodie, the one my grandmother gave me before she died. She didn't even look at me. "You're still bleeding. Pathetic." Every second was theater for them, and I was the punchline. They fed on every flinch, every inch I shrank into myself. But as I chewed the piece of dry toast they'd tossed me without a plate, I started planning. They had kept me trapped with two weapons, fear and isolation. They'd convinced me no one cared, no one would believe me, and I'd let them. But scars change things. A scar is a story even if you don't want to tell it. Later that week at the small grocery store, Mr. Harris, the manager, froze when he saw me. "What happened?" he asked, his brows knitting together. I forced a laugh. Tripped over my own shoes. He didn't look convinced. Over the next few days, I kept catching him watching me at the store when I stocked shelves, when I bagged groceries. He never asked questions, never pushed, but I could tell he was collecting pieces, tucking them away for later, and for the first time, I didn't slam that door shut. Back home, nothing softened. My mom started calling me glassface every morning, like it was a greeting. My dad made loud, fake snoring noises whenever I sat on the couch, a mocking echo of the night he smashed that glass. My sister took it further. She'd film me on her phone when I walked into a room, zoom in on my scar, and send the clips to her friends with captions like, "When you try to look important, but God disagrees." But here's what they didn't realize: they were getting sloppy, arrogant. My dad bragged to his drinking buddies about keeping his house in order. My mom laughed about how a little pain keeps the weak in their place. My sister left her phone unlocked one night, and inside was a gallery of evidence, videos and photos that told a very different story than the one they paraded for the neighbors. The real shift came when my dad's friend Carl stopped by after one too many drinks. He glanced at my scar and said, almost cheerfully, that not all accidents were bad ones. My dad chuckled, leaning back like a king holding court. "She's lucky I didn't break her whole face. That's how you keep them quiet." Carl's smirk flickered, just for a second, but I saw it and I knew then, the right audience could make them choke on their own words. They thrived in the dark, they withered in the light. So I started planting seeds, slowly, quietly, at work. I made sure Mr. Harris caught sight of the bruises that never quite faded. When I passed Mrs. Lell, the fence-peeking neighbor, I didn't hide the scar. I let my dad's voice boom through open windows, his insults sharp enough to carry. I made sure my mom's laughter followed close behind. At night, I stayed awake, memorizing their routines, their habits, their weak spots. They had enemies they didn't even know about, old debts, bitter grudges, burned bridges. I didn't need to fight them head-on. I just had to open the right doors and let the rot spill out. By the end of the second week, my dad didn't realize his own words were making the rounds in kitchens and across fences, whispered like poison. My mom hadn't noticed the way people stopped waving in the grocery store. My sister didn't see that her friends were laughing at her when she bragged about putting me in my place. I kept my head down, I kept breathing too loud, and I waited because the silence I was about to give them would be deafening. It started on a Sunday morning, their favorite day to put on a show. The living room was spotless. Magazines fanned perfectly on the coffee table, the smell of overbrewed coffee in the air. They'd invited their little audience, my dad's work friend who could score him cheap car parts, my mom's church acquaintance who collected gossip like trophies, and my sister's latest boyfriend, shallow enough to blend right in. I wasn't invited to sit with them. I never was. My mom sent me to scrub the kitchen grout instead, her voice slicing through the air. Don't forget the corners. People notice when filth doesn't know its place. But that morning, the guests noticed something else entirely. My dad was halfway through another loud, self-glorifying story when the front door swung open. No knock, just Mrs. Lell, the neighbor who'd been listening through my open windows for weeks. She held her phone like a weapon, her eyes locked on my dad until his voice stumbled. "Thought you might want to hear what the rest of us have been hearing," she said, tapping her screen. The living room filled with his own voice, booming and clear. "She's lucky I didn't break her whole face. That's how you keep them quiet." My mom's laugh followed, sharp and cruel. "A little pain teaches the weak their place." The guests froze. My sister's boyfriend leaned forward, pale, and then I saw him, Mr. Harris, my boss, standing just behind Mrs. Lell. I'd let slip to him that my parents were hosting today. Mrs. Lell cast the footage to the TV, my scar, fresh and angry, my sister's videos, me bleeding, her mocking voice overlaid with captions, "When you try to look important, but God disagrees." The room went dead, my dad's jaw locked tight, my mom's hand missed her coffee cup entirely. My sister lunged for the remote, but Mr. Harris stepped in her path. "This is what you've been doing." His voice was low but sharp enough to cut. "This is who you really are." I didn't speak. I didn't need to. Chairs scraped the floor as guests stood, some shaking their heads, some avoiding my gaze. Mr. Harris left first, Mrs. Lell right behind him, leaving the damning evidence still glowing on the screen. One by one, the rest followed. The silence that remained was heavier than any shout. My dad opened his mouth, then shut it again. My mom's eyes darted like she was searching for an exit. My sister's phone buzzed non-stop. Her friends had clearly seen it all by now. I took my coat from the chair. "You always said no one would believe me," I said, meeting my dad's eyes. "Turns out, you were wrong." Then I walked out. No slam, no parting scream, just the kind of silence that leaves rot to fester. And I left them there, in their spotless living room, with no one left to clap for their cruelty.